All right, it's time to create our first document from scratch. So you want to open your LaTeX editor, and probably when you open it, a blank file will appear. If not, you can select File, New from the menu, and you should start out with a blank document. Now, if you start out with a document that has some text already in it, I recommend you delete it. You want to start with a new blank document so that we can learn how to type a LaTeX document from scratch. In the next lecture, we'll look at templates and some of the things that might show up in a template. But for now, let's start with a blank document in our LaTeX editor. It's currently untitled. I'm going to save it as Lecture 6 and save it in my Lecture 6 folder. So this is my Lecture 6 text file. And I'm ready to start typing. So the first thing you need at the top of every LaTeX document is a document class tag. All of the LaTeX tags start with the slash, followed by the tag name. So we'll type \document class. Notice this comes up in blue. It might come up in a different color on your text editor. So usually the LaTeX commands come up colored and your text comes up in black. We have several different choices for a document class. We've already seen the article. Every document begins with a begin statement, so \begin, and then the word document. So this tells the text editor where your document begins. And then it ends with a \end statement and the word document. So you have begin document and end document. So the actual text of your document is going to go in this section between the begin and end tags. One of the nice things about using LaTeX is you can make comments directly in your document that do not appear when you run LaTeX and create your PDF. To make a comment, you start with the %sign, and this should show up in a different color then. In my editor, it shows up in red. And you can write a comment, and we'll see when we typeset this document that the comment does not appear. An article class requires a title, so it's looking for the title of your document. So we're going to create a title tag, so it's /title. And then make a compelling title for our document. Notice that I'm using curly braces and entering my text in the curly braces. And so this is the common LaTeX tag. We'll see it a lot. /tag name, curly braces with some text inside the curly braces that you write. We'll also be needing an author tag for an article. So /author, again, curly braces, and then your name. And then the date tag. If you do not include a date tag, then the date will automatically appear for an article. This varies by class, but in the article class, a date will appear. If you don't want the date to appear, you can add a date class or date tag that is empty. So I've added the date tag, put the curly braces, and I've put nothing in there. That is going to make my document show up with no date on it. So now I have begin and end document. So the first thing I want to do when I begin my document is create my title. There's a special tag for that called make title. So you'll type /make title, and then the text editor will include your title at the top of your document. You can break your document into sections with section tags. So if I type /section, we'll make the first section named Introduction. And that'll be section 1 of my document. Now keep in mind you don't have to keep track of numbering here. LaTeX is going to number the sections and subsections properly for you. So we're all set up, ready to go. This is going to be the text in my introduction section. And so let's review then some more basic concepts. In addition to sections, you can have subsections, and these will have a special numbering that's related to the section. So this is a subsection, and hopefully you're typing along as we're going. Of course, you have a video here, so feel free to pause it if you need some more time to type. This is a subsection, and you have some more interesting things to say here. You can go a level deeper and create a subsection. So this will be a subsection of the subsection. This is a subsection. And of course in there you can, continue on with your text. And you can continue creating subsections depending on your tech environment. I believe up to 4 levels deep, but you can practice with that and see how far deep you can go saying subsection. I believe it stops at 4. But feel free to play with that. That's the best way to learn LaTeX, is to actually play, try things, typeset. If you get an error, then it didn't work, right? If you don't, then you've learned something new. So I'm going to add a final section to my article, call it a conclusion. And I'm going to say I am having fun learning LaTeX. Now, because LaTeX is LaTeX, there's a special tag for creating the LaTeX name in the proper way, and that's a \, capital L, little a, capital T, little e, capital X, which is the proper way to write LaTeX. And since I've used the LaTeX tag, we'll see when we typeset this document how it's displayed in the final version. So now I have my very simple document here. I'm going to typeset it by clicking Typeset. My console comes up, and I see an error. Now, remember I said if you have an error, then your document's not going to typeset. And so this error is telling me exactly where I have a problem. On line 22, it sees an undefined control sequence. So, in looking at my subsection tag, I can see that I mistyped subsection. So the error was actually instructive there, and in fact my editor has underlined this for me in red because it saw the error. So I'll fix my typo, typeset again, and this time the console shows no errors and my PDF document was created. Get this to fit in the screen so we can see it. And there's the PDF document that was created. So you can see it created the title with my author name, and it properly numbered the sections and subsections 1, 1.1, 1.1.1. In a later video in this course, we'll look at how we can actually modify that numbering scheme to include letters, Roman numerals, however we want the numbering scheme to work. But this is the default numbering scheme. And then you can see my next section was labeled 2. So 1 and 2 were both under a section tag. Section introduction, section conclusion. And so those were numbered 1 and 2, and then my subsection and subsection was properly numbered based on the closest section that it belongs in. And then here at the bottom you can see how LaTeX, the word, was formatted using that special LaTeX tag. And notice that the comment that we created in our document that said this is a comment does not appear in our final PDF. So this is really great when you're writing. You can make as many notes as you want throughout your document, notes just for you to read when you're looking at your text file that will not appear in your final document. And I find that to be very useful when I'm writing. One of the things I don't like about a lot of the default classes is they have a lot of margin space. We're all about saving paper these days and saving space, and so we don't want to have all of this extra white space in our document. We'll talk later about using packages, but for now, the one package that I always use, because I don't like these default margins, is called Geometry. So to use a package, and for now just follow along, we'll come back later and talk about packages some more. But in this case I want to use a package, so I use the use package command, And this package is called Geometry, one of the most commonly used packages, I believe. And I can add some special rules to this geometry package, and I'm going to set margin equals 1 inch. So notice here I've used square brackets after use package, so this is to add my optional arguments, and then the curly braces for the geometry package. And I want my margin set to 1 inch, which is going to set 1 inch margins all the way around the document. So I'm going to change my comment here to make note of what I did. I don't like the default margins, so I changed them here. So now if I go back to my LaTeX document, I can read my note and see why I added this package and what it did. Typeset my document again, and now I see that my margins are smaller. I don't have all of that extra space that I had before. One final thing I want to look at is the date tag. We put this empty date tag here so that the date would not appear on our article. If you decide at any point you want the date to appear, you can delete this empty date tag, or you can simply comment it out. Put a % sign in front of it. That line is now commented out, so it will be ignored by the typesetter. And when I run typeset now, by default, the article class will put the current date in my article. So I see I have the date here. Now keep in mind, as I'm doing this, I'm watching the console and making sure I don't see any errors or warnings. If you did not have the geometry package installed on your system, then the first time you typed typeset, your tech distribution should have installed it for you, or maybe popped up asking you if you wanted to install it. When that happens, just go ahead and say yes. So if it doesn't automatically install it, if it prompts you instead, just say yes, install the package. You may need to have an internet connection to do this, and then it will go out, find the package that you're missing, and install it in your tech distribution. So that is the basics of writing a document from scratch and just the minimal tags that you need in your document. And in the next lectures, we will continue adding more tags to our list of things we know how to do. My recommendation is that you create your own LaTeX cheat sheet. You can find a lot of cheat sheets on the web, but I find it's most instructive to create your own and then put the tags in there as you learn them. So keep your cheat sheet on the side, write all the tags, write your notes on what the tags mean. Of course, do this in a LaTeX document. Put your notes in a comment, as I've done here, and then the syntax for adding the package or the tag that you're using, and create your own cheat sheet that way so that you can go back and have a document where you have all of the tags that you've learned. And that's just a recommendation. Like I said, you can also find a lot of LaTeX cheat sheets on the web, and you might find something there that you find useful enough to use.